We'd like to welcome each and every individual to Voices of Integrity podcast for buying a business. You can use this for starting a business, owning businesses. There's a whole bunch of things. And we have a privilege to have a guest on, Joel, today, and he was invited by Luke. So, Joel, tell us a little bit about yourself if you could.
Yeah, my name's Joel Graber. Business owner. Started with my father, who started a construction business about 35 years ago. We've grown that business. We've got about 8 guys, run several crews in the northern Indiana, southern Michigan area. My brother and I, about 4 or 5 months ago, beginning of December 2025, we bought a cabinet shop. Was the cabinet shop that we had been using for the last 8 to 10 years, and ran into Luke because of that. And so he asked me if I'd hop on here with you guys.
Nice, nice. Man, I have so many questions for you, Joel. The first question I have, and so I'm like a 3-year-old boy, so I'm just curious. I'm just like, I just have so many questions. So forgive me. If you have, and Ben and Luke, if you guys have any questions, jump in and ask. Just interrupt me. It's fine. Ask Joel any question. The first question I have, Joel, is how hard was it for you and your brother to work for your dad?
It's funny that you ask me that, because most people, it's kind of 50-50 when I tell people that I work with my family. Half the people say I could never do that, and the other half say, wow, that is really lucky that you guys are able to work together. Uh, it really hasn't been hard at all. We appreciate each other. I think my parents did a good job of raising us to appreciate each other. And my dad's always treated us as a partner when we joined the business. He's still my dad. I respect him. And he's got, years and years of knowledge that I'm still trying to accumulate. But it's just been really great. I've been very blessed to be able to work with my dad and my brother. Actually, my son works with us now. He's worked with us for about 2 years, uh, and is going to start buying into the business in the next year. And we have my dad's brother, my uncle, moved back from Colorado about 6 years ago. He had been a carpenter there. He's working with us now too. So we get along. You know, there's times where you have your arguments, but you're family and you respect each other, so you get through it.
Yeah. And how old is your son?
He is 22.
I got that. And so did you go ahead and start working with your dad? Have you been working with him all the time? Did you go and work somewhere else or?
Uh, no, out of high school, I thought I knew more than my dad.
Okay.
So I don't know if you guys ever ran into that yourselves, but so I worked for a company locally here called Halsey Tile. They're the premier tile installation company in our area. Um, Worked for them for about 4 years, learned how to set tile, learned how to do solid surface countertops, got into extremely high end homes with them and learned how that operates from some really good contractors that I got to be friends with through that. Um, and then about 4 years into that, my wife and I was 22, 23. We already had 4 kids at that point, and I needed to make more money. So I went to RV factories, as a lot of guys in our area do.
Yep.
That wore me out pretty quick, and I started my own thing and realized I don't like working by myself.
Okay.
So worked out that my brother started with my dad straight out of high school. My brother's 5 years younger than me.
Okay.
So I was probably 27 when I joined the family business.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Okay. Um, and then kind of a strange question, but one that helps me to better understand people is which of these four shapes would you tend to like the most? A cube, a pyramid, a wavy line, or a ball? A cube, a pyramid, a wavy line, or a ball?
Uh, Probably a ball.
Nice. And then after that, a cube, a pyramid, or wavy line?
Pyramid.
And then after that, a cube or a wavy line?
A cube.
Nice. And which of these four things, Joel, would cause you the most frustration in any area of your business or life? Things being out of order, out of control, boring or not fun, or conflict? Again, which cause you the most frustration? Out of order, out of control, boring or not fun, or conflict?
Um, Out of order.
And then after that, out of control, boring or not fun, or conflict with others?
Boring or not fun.
And then after that, out of control or conflict with others?
Uh, Conflict with others.
And Joel, do you know you have a really, really super complex personality?
I've been told that. My wife says stuff like that all the time.
Yeah, she's right. Big time. So between those two tests, you test out as one of the most, there's 65,536 possible combinations in that test. And you test out as one of the most complex there is. So in the one test, in the geometric psychology test, you test out as an amiable driver personality. And so one of your greatest strengths would be your concern, compassion for people.
Yeah.
And one of your weaknesses might be your concern, compassion for people. So
Probably.
so our greatest strength is our greatest weakness, and our greatest weakness is just our greatest strength misapplied is taking a strength and carrying it too far. In
Right.
that test, one of your greatest strengths would be your drive, your assertiveness, you make things happen. Weakness would be the same. So in the geo test, it shows that there's inner conflict. Like you see people's potential and you want to help drive it forward, but you don't want the conflict. So there's constant tension going on inside of you.
Yeah, that's probably true.
Yeah. So that's pretty unusual. But what's even more unusual is in the pain quadrant test, you test out a 180-degree opposite, totally opposite of that one. And so in that test, one of your greatest strengths is analytic. So one of your greatest strengths at times would be you like to dot your I's, cross your T's, make sure things are done properly in order. And the weakness would be the same. And then the opposite of that is the expressive personality. So one of your greatest strengths at times would be your energy, excitement, enthusiasm. You have a million ideas.
Yeah.
And so again, it's one of the most complex of the 65,536 possible combinations. So this personality is one of the most interconflicted personalities, like of all of them. And so they have a million ideas. They want to do them all fast. They want to do them all perfect, and they want everybody to be happy. What could possibly go wrong with that?
Exactly. Well, I mean, I think you just explained me pretty well, but it's why I rely on a lot of good people around me.
Well, the thing that's interesting is a very powerful personality. When this personality is hot, they're really, really hot. And when they're not, they're not. When they're hot, what's happening is they're analyzing when they should analyze, executing when they should execute, focus on the task when they should the task, and people when they should the people. So it's like a symphony. It's like an orchestra. It's like everything's. So probably even since you were, a young boy, people would say, Joel, like, how do you do everything? And you probably, I don't know, I just do. So that super highly gifted, talented personality. But when they're cold, then they're analyzing when they should execute, executing when they should analyze, focus on the task when they should the people, and the people when. So they're like gears, and it's just slightly off, but it's
Yeah.
it's So I don't know how accurate that is, but that's what it shows us.
It sounds pretty accurate.
And what would you say, Joel, the biggest challenge you guys are facing in your business right now would be?
In our business,
Yeah.
personnel usually is our biggest issue.
Gotcha.
I would assume anybody that I guess I'm
Yeah.
just making an assumption, but I assume most people that own a business would say the same thing.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Our oldest daughter, she stopped by, and she has 6 kids, and she's pregnant with her number 7, And when she was 11 years old, she and I went over to Russia together. And we visited a llama farmer in
Oh,
Russia. And so he owned his own business and he's a llama farmer. And I said, what's your biggest challenge? He said, people, personnel can't work. It's just getting the people. So anywhere, everywhere in the world is fascinating. I've been blessed to be an international speaker and author. So I've written 16 books, traveled all around the world. In every business, it's the people. It's like, how do you get
yeah.
the best people? How do you develop them? How do you get them all working together? And it's interesting, like with Cruise, it's very much like a family. You have kind of things going, and then you have one more child. That one more child, even though it's a baby, it still disrupts
Oh
everything.
yeah. Oh yeah. Well, it's funny. My wife and I have 7 children,
Oh, okay.
so I understand where your daughter is coming from. It's exciting and it's the most challenging thing ever, and you'll always be poor. But which is good. That's the kind of poor you want to be, because
Right,
it's the most rich you'll ever be too.
right,
Um,
right.
but what we've come to conclude as far as like with personnel is we've been able to find some really, really great guys to bring in that are good teachers. And so now it's a matter of finding the guys to bring in to learn that can then become the teachers. Uh, so that's what we're working at this point in time, is to find the young people who want to work.
Yeah, and see, it's interesting because one of the co-authors is of one of my earlier books is Tom Kuntz, and so he's the most recent past president of Century 21, it's the largest real estate franchise in the world, had 140,000 agents in 70 different countries, and fascinating guy. And so, on the recruiting side, like when you have 140,000 agents, you got to
Oh yeah,
get good at recruiting and developing people. And he and I had an argument, discussion for years. Like, they say when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. And that's what he said. And I said, well, who made up that saying? It's probably the teachers.
yeah,
I think when the teacher's ready, the students will appear. I think it's a combination of both of those, having great teachers, but then great students. And I think that, the smartest person in the room, I think, is always the one that's the best student.
yeah, for sure. If you aren't learning always,
Right.
what are you doing?
Right. You're stuck. You're
Yeah.
stuck or you're locked. Um, Joe, if anybody could help you in any area of your business or life, what would you love help with?
Help with. Where do you know that's a tough question, because I there'd be a number of things. Sleep.
Right. Right.
um, but that kind of probably comes back to just my management skills. That's what I would want the most help with. I've been able to surround myself with good guys who are good at helping me manage, but
So what
there's
was it that
times
you said you wanted help on?
my growing my management skills.
Okay. Gotcha. Yeah.
I've got
Yeah.
a we hired a GM a couple years ago that's been a good friend of mine for a while,
Okay.
and he's helped me a lot with that.
Yeah.
But it's something that we were just always busy. I was blessed with the gift to just be able to work.
Right.
So if something needs to be done, I've got the fortitude to just push through the pain and get it done, whatever it takes. And so
Right.
I just always relied on that and never really focused on growing my management skills. So
Gotcha.
that's something that now all of a sudden I need to get better at.
Big time. How many? So you have 7 kids. What are their ages?
My oldest is 25. He'll be 26 this year.
Okay.
22, 20, 18, 16, 13, and 11.
Nice. Just about every 2 years ish.
Pretty close. The first and the last are spread out a little further, but
Right. Right. Yeah. My wife and we've been married for 41 years. We have 7 kids, 11 grandkids, and another one on the way. And so I own 9 companies and I have an extra 20 to 30 hours of free time a week. Um, and it
Yeah.
and it's interesting because when I met Tom, my whole life changed. Opportunities came that I'd never even dreamed of before. And so I figured out the secret about time. And so business owners normally will think about time and money differently. So with money, if you invest, 10 hours or $10,000 into something, you got to get $10,000 plus something back. And if you do that successfully, you can have a successful business.
Right.
But business owners, if most business owners, they think if I invest 10 hours, I get money. But if you're exchanging time for money, you'll always run out of time. And I mean, always. So what I
Yeah.
learned a little over 20 years ago is I learned that I need to think about time like I do money. And when I invest 10 hours, I get 30 hours back. And when I changed how I thought about time, everything else in my life changed. And I all of a sudden started having an abundance of time, and it was fascinating. So, Joel, for individuals thinking of buying a business or starting a business, would you have a recommendation of which one to do?
Um, well, I had a front row seat for seeing my dad start his, and that was exciting to see. I got to be a gopher for him immediately. I was 11. That was exciting. He's an extremely gifted man and an engineer's mind and an excellent carpenter. And so and the kind of person that once you meet him, you like him. So I I don't I think it would, in my opinion, it would be a personality thing. Maybe what is your tolerance for the risk?
I see.
Uh, we've
Do you
gone
think
through buying a
more risky?
business
Do you think
now.
it's more risky to start a company or buy a company?
It depends on the company you're buying, right?
Right? Or the
Uh,
company you're starting?
right. There's all a risk reward, and what is the ratio? What is
Right.
the ratio?
Right.
So that's hard. I think it really comes down to a personality or what your dream is. If your dream is something and you can buy that business and the opportunities there, I would say do it.
Right.
Uh, if it's not, and uh, I'm a I have I have a high risk tolerance. So
Okay.
my brother being a business partner is he balances me out because he's not that way.
Gotcha.
I'm ready to go and do stuff. I mean, we just had this conversation yesterday because I was telling him we're going to do something with the business, and he's like, well, "Wait a minute, we need to talk this thing through." And I knew he would say that, so I was already prepared with all the
Right.
information I knew he'd want. But you know, years ago, I wouldn't have had that. I wouldn't have been prepared for that because I would just jump in.
Right.
Oh, we'll figure it out, and
Right.
I can work hard enough to make it happen. But
Well, that's the benefit of having that hard work ethic. Like my international speaking coach, Linda Brakall, she started coaching me in professional speaking when I was 27. And I went through her 3-day boot camp. And at the end of the first day, she came up to me. She said, Mark, I have to be honest with you. I said, I love honesty. She said, you are the most god awful speaker I've ever heard. I said, that's awesome, Linda. I have no place to go but up. And so, but she told me, she said, Mark, you're going to be really, really successful in business. And that's when I started the company I've owned the longest, Synergy Solutions, for 34 years. And she said, you're going to be really successful, but I wouldn't want to be successful the way you're going to be. And I'm like, that's kind of strange. Why? She says, because you just going to work hard. So
yeah,
I think that might have been a nice way of saying, Mark, you're not that smart, so you better work hard. So,
that's funny.
do you have any advice for individuals that are either looking at buying a company or starting a company? Do you have any advice for them, Joel?
Uh, well, there's opportunity. You just got to
Right.
be looking for it. I mean, with one of the things that we've been talking about is the fact that there's a lot of boomers who are going to be exiting the working world and wanting to sell their businesses that don't have no one to sell it to.
Yep.
If you believe in that business and you can convey to that owner that you believe in what they did, because I know as an owner, like what I want is to see it, what we've done to last beyond me.
Right.
And so that's what most people would want. If you can convey that to somebody, they're going to want to work with you because they want to see that happen.
Right. And you go
And
ahead
the other thing is Wayne Gretzky said, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So
right. Right. And I love what he said when people ask him, like, why were you so successful? So much more successful. He says, I go where the puck is going, not where it's at.
exactly.
So he could see the future and he says, oh, this is what I'm going to do. And so you put your blood, sweat, and tears, the amount of risks that you take as a business owner are insane.
Right.
And so you don't want that to die. Like
Right.
you put so much into it. It's like, it's like one of your kids and you put so much into it, you don't want it to die. You want somebody to come along and take all your blood, sweat, and tears and all the risk. And you want to take it and say, okay, I took it to this level, but you can take it to this level. And so you're absolutely right. Luke, any questions you have for Joel?
So Joel, in our conversation recently, you mentioned something about personnel, that you internalized something where like it's okay to have personnel come in your company and leadership maybe even and then go out and start their own company. Can you explain a little bit more about that?
Yeah. So there's a gentleman that kind of took me under his wing. I was at like a National Home Builders Association course. I was getting some of the credentials, and he was the leader from that. He was out of Joliet, just outside of Chicago. And he kind of took me out under his wing because I was asking him a bunch of questions. And so then for about a year and a half, we corresponded all the time. And and at that point in time, I was talking about personnel because at that point it was me and my brother and my dad, and we were just grinding. And I was talking about, well, we need to find somebody, some good people. And one of the first things he told me was that if you hire the right people, some of them will leave your company and do their own thing. And that's okay, because it means that you've helped them to grow to one. If you're getting those kind of people, they're motivated, they're disciplined, they don't need you to be watching over their shoulder all the time. And so they're going to be successful for you and for themselves. And some of those people will have ambition to do it for themselves. And that's okay. And that kind of expanded like what I was looking for then, because I didn't, it's hard when you think, I look at it as a coaching tree, like Bill Parcells. His coaching tree in football is huge. All of the great head coaches that were under him and started with him and can attribute their success to him. He didn't hold them back from becoming head coaches. He helped develop them to that. But in that time, they helped him be successful. And so some guys you will have for a period of, some guys are, their mindset is they just want to work. They want to be successful where they're at. They are risk adverse, so they're not going to want to go and do their own thing. But some guys are motivated enough that they're going to want to go and try to do their own thing. If they can go and do it successfully, then that means that I've done my job. And in that period of time that they were with me, they've helped me to grow. So that's what we were talking about, Luke.
Questions, Luke?
I don't think so. Well, I guess like what do you do with the hole that they leave once they go? Do you fill it with someone else or?
Well, I try to fill it before that.
Right.
You kind of recognize when you're around people enough, you recognize who's motivated and who. People have a way of talking so that you can understand, like, are they the kind of people that want to, when they talk about their vision, is their vision an us and a we and the future, a distant future, or is it when I do this someday. They give you clues as to what their intentions are in the future, and so you make a plan going forward. Like I'm constantly looking for younger guys. Now that I've seen some of my boys go through some of the high school programs, I have a better idea of what to look for or who to talk to when I'm looking for young men or young people to come in and that would want to learn and grow.
Right. So Luke, do you see there might be even a better model? Like in Good to Great, have you read that book, Joel?
Yeah.
Yeah. So in Good to Great, the biggest enemy to greatness is goodness. So one thing you guys are hopefully all picking up that are watching this podcast is Joel is well read. Like he understands. Like, so when you read a book, I think it takes, they say 37 years of experience to write a book. So when you're reading a book, it's one of the greatest educations you can get is to go through that. So there's always a better way. Do you see that there might be even a better way, Luke, than to bring somebody on and then they go off and start their own company? Great. Do you see there might be a better way, Luke?
I think so, maybe
And what might that be?
a division or something.
So there's divisions. And if you know somebody, most people that start a company, that most people who are starting a company have no idea on how hard it's going to be, how much risk it's going to be. You can do everything right, but if the market shifts on you, it can put you out of business. I mean, there's so many, it's so hard. So when I look back, I started my own companies and I wish I had a mentor. I wish I had somebody that could have guided. I could have made infinitely more money, which is not what it's about. If you're going to start your own company, probably it's not to make money initially for sure. And so, but I could have, if I would have had somebody where I would have owned 50 and they 50%, they would have owned 50%. If it was the right person or the right group of people, I would have made infinitely more money at 50% than 100% if they could have guided me along. So I think there's a way, like Joel sees, there's all these people that are in their 50s, 60s, 70s, and they're graying out, and they see this next generation coming in. They're not willing to work as hard as I am. And hopefully if they take over my company, they don't have to, because I've done a lot of the heavy lifting, but there's still a certain amount. So I think that there's a way, Luke, that we can build a system. I think that there's a way we can build a system that can match, which is what we're doing here. Like in the podcast, like how do you match business owners that are wanting to go ahead and find an owner, find somebody to buy their business, turn it over to, have a legacy? And how do you find people? And then how do you bring it together and say, this is how you have the highest chance of probability? And there's a whole bunch of business owners out there that are looking to do that. Ben, did you have any questions for Joel?
No, not really. Mark's my dad. He's continuing to tell me he doesn't want me to work with him. And in his own weird way. And I continue to say that I agree. But for some reason, I keep coming back. So if you got some magic words for that, that would be helpful.
So let me get it straight. Mark, you're telling him he doesn't want to work with you?
Well, that's what he thinks. He's working with Grand Design right now. The challenge Ben has is the challenge that a lot of kids of first generation business owners have, and they see how hard their dad and their mom worked, and they don't want to work that hard. What they miss is your dad's probably done most of the heavy lifting. You come in, you can build on his. You don't have to take the risk. You don't have to do the other. And so, so Ben is a very different personality than I am. And so he's much more gifted with people. Like he's just naturally gifted with people, great in selling. I think he'd be great in leadership and those type of things. he's learned a lot in the factory. He's been in Grand Design for, I think, 4 years, 5 years, something like that. 5 years. And so he's done very, very, very well in there. And so that might be for him. The challenge is all 7 of our kids largely were built to be entrepreneurs. Like they're built to think. So when you're built to be an entrepreneur, it's hard to work for somebody else.
Yeah. Yeah. I can see that.
You know? So
I enjoy working for other people, sadly. I wish I had that dark, desired, unbelievable, just menace in me where I have to own a company. I don't have that at all.
Well, if you're good at sales, you come talk to me sometime, Ben. I'll get you selling some stuff.
My dad says I'm good at sales. I'm good at talking to people. I wouldn't say
That's
selling
sales.
is necessarily my specialty. I've talked to a few sales guys, and I'm like, I don't trust them at all. Maybe they're just bad sales guys.
Sales in my world, sales is about relationships. You build. For me, like if somebody's going to buy a kitchen cabinets from us, they have to trust that they have to trust us. They have to trust that we have their best interest in mind, that we understand what they want, and that we can provide high quality cabinets and install. If it's construction and carpentry, I'm in we remodel a lot. We're in a lot of people's homes. They have to trust that we can be in their homes alongside of them, or when they're not there. It's all about building relationships. Like sales for me is I'm not just trying to sell somebody. Most people that come to me, they're already pre-qualified because they're looking for it, right? So for us, it's really about understanding what they want, and that comes from a relationship. So I think you'd probably be really good at sales.
Nice. Well, Joel, I don't know if you're interested in coming back and being a guest sometime. We'd love to have you, and I'd love to have your dad if he has any interest in doing it. It would be really fun because I don't know who it's harder for, if it's harder for the dad or harder for the kids, because I think it's hard depending a lot on personalities, but I think it's hard for both. And so when you go ahead and get a dad to come in and share his wisdom, like how did you pull it off, especially with 2 boys?
Oh, I'll run it by him. He doesn't really love talking, so I'll see what he says, but I'd love to have him come on.
Yeah. And he doesn't really have to talk. I do 15 to 25 podcasts a week. And so in all different topics. And so if he comes on and he just wants to listen to you, I have a capacity to ask people questions that draw out. So a lot of the smartest people in the world, like often the people who say the most have the least to say, and the people who say the least have the most to say. So I tend to have a pretty strong skill set in being able to just talk about the story, and that inspires other people. And it is one of the hardest things in the world to get your kids to take over your business. That says a lot for him. It says a lot for you and your brother too.
Yeah. Oh, I'd love to have him come and be a part of it.
Yeah, that'd be neat. Well, thank you so much, Joel. Appreciate great having you a guest, and look forward to having you come back again.
Yeah, and thank you, Luke, for the invite.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for joining us. We'll get the recording out to you.
All right, sounds good.
We'll see you. Thank you, Joel.
Thank you.
And so if you're listening to the rebroadcast of this, you have any questions, feel free to connect with the individual who invited you to participate in today's session, or you can call toll-free 888-230-2300, outside the U.S. 630-393-9909. And always remember, we can accomplish so much more together than we ever could on our own. Have an amazing day. Bye-bye.